Hi everyone, this is AI in Agriculture, one idea a day. And today we have kind of special idea because it's not a separate self-standing idea, but something which I feel that I need to record because of my promise which I have publicly given. So the long story short, I am now experimenting with live streams, and it's kind of separate big rocket science, and I'm sure in a few years I will get some results, but the problem is that I don't want people who are watching me to suffer and get some unpleasant experience, but unfortunately it happened. And during the first live stream which I have successfully launched on LinkedIn and YouTube in parallel. So it's kind of an extra level for me, considering my already existing experience with just one channel. But I mean that everything was alright, but unfortunately on some stage I just was not properly coordinated. I didn't coordinate this sound properly, and part of was muted. And that's why I first of all, if you have watched that live stream, I sincerely apologize for this inconvenience. And now I will demonstrate that part, because actually I remember what I have approximately said, because the content is still with me and it will stay over there as long as my account will be, because it's one of the newsletters which I was demonstrating. And this is actually the interesting newsletter, because as I mentioned, this part was recorded with sound. So maybe just to add my current video on top of that one, and maybe it will be some kind like more complementary and entire view of this use case, because the use case by itself is interesting and progressive. So how to monitor crop health using unmanned aerial vehicles, I mean drones, as well as using mobile technologies for ground truth measurements. So, long story short finished. Now let's just go and share the screen. Now I'm using like ordinary technology which I have used since September when I have started. So yes, I started my channel in September 2025. So I am so proud, and I'm grateful to you that I have already some nice audience. So let's just continue. Give me a second, I'll share my screen. My screen. So this is that nice, interesting newsletter which I mentioned, and it's all about the monitoring of tea plantations. But what is specific regarding this unique case? And unique, I mean that obviously before this research paper and after it, there will be many more similar in depth and maybe in other parameters researchers, but this one is unique because it also uses Petiole Pro. So that's why. And I don't remember actually, did I said it at the end of my live stream, which was recorded and not muted, or at the beginning, but the story has started about this connection. So I knew how Petiole Pro is supporting the drone-based monitoring of crop health for a long time, since 2016, because it was a time when we have just launched the first version of our mobile application. By the way, I want just to show you, maybe you have never seen it, so just give me a second. I will launch it and show it that it exists. Yes, it's here. It's mobile application Petiole Pro, and there are other models, but I mean the researchers have used only leaf area, so it is the top one. So we have just launched the first first version of our mobile application, and we actively try to spread a word about this mobile application for everyone, because we saw that not only in Ukraine but in other countries, researchers and agronomists and other agri-minded people are interested in measuring leaf area using digital technologies. So I posted some kind of tweet, or not posted, but tweeted a tweet in Twitter. At that moment it was still Twitter. And as a result, I remember a discussion with one lady who was from New York, and she was working with some project in urban farming, and she was writing to me that like a nice idea, and I think this is very good support for drone monitoring when you are just doing the collection of drone imagery, and then you are walking to the field and taking the measurements in fact in square centimeters, and you're supporting your imagery with ground truth data. At the same time, at that moment, I said, okay, it's very smart idea, but I was mentally not ready to accept how it works, and it sounded at that moment for me kind of a bit scientific. But as of now, I see not just scientific work, but also the practical side of this work, how it works in fact. So now you have seen and you have heard actually everything what I wanted to say about the plant health monitoring using drones and mobile technologies. But it's not the end yet, because we still will watch our newsletter, because there is another interesting aspect regarding this newsletter. One more aspect that is linked about Petiole Pro. Another aspect that it's published by Chinese researchers, and if you know the specifics of digital environment in China, there is no actually access to Google Play Store. So again, far back away, a few years ago, I was thinking which countries are good to spread into and grow our presence over there. And China is an obvious leader, because China is one of the top agricultural producers in the world. But there is an issue with presence of Android devices over there, specifically distribution of Android-based mobile applications which are present in Google Play Store. There is a limit for this kind of applications. So that's why it was a kind of new discovery for me when I saw that Chinese researchers, they got a chance to install our mobile application and use it for their purposes. I was like, wow, finally we got some proof that in China Petiole Pro is also helpful and present. So this was the reason number two. And the reason number three is also that it's about the unique terrain, because this research paper, and now I put it into this video short explanation of the content of the research paper, but we will slowly go down now and just will see that terrain is the important aspect why this research paper is unique. So let's go, and this is the first point which I mentioned about terrain. As you see on the right hand side of this image, the beautiful green and kind of wavy mountainous area, it looks very good, and obviously it's one of the best places to grow tea, and then have different grades of high quality premium tea or not such high quality tea, but still it's acceptable to grow this specific crop over there. At the same time, if we are speaking about monitoring of plant health and using drone above the plantation, it means that we are taking imagery of the light which is reflected from the canopy, which is growing, growing in this plantation. And this means that the angle where the plants are growing, I will just scroll down and you will see it's different. And that's why we can get not the same result as we will use the methodology for flat field. So it's not correct to do the same, to follow the same playbook and the same rules for flying drones above the mountains, above the hills, as well as above the flat fields with even tea. If it's grown on flat fields, you will get a different result. And here is the more explanation of the difference between the height of these hills and how it's distributed among the area which was monitored. And by the way, I think it's on top. We can see also, you can see there are red dots. So red dots, these are the places where the samples were physically taken. So as I mentioned, the researchers, their main task was to monitor plant health, and they did not just aerial imagery, they collected it, but also they collected the ground sample images. So, and these images were taken in these specific locations, and going to Petiole Pro, they collected 90 leaves, and they measured the leaf area of 90 leaves using the mobile application. But these are the locations where they have, they have visited. And all of these locations are within the area which is on the left hand side now, so it's not kind of like very distributed around, but it's concentrated in specific location of Fujian province in China. And then we also have this nice explanations. It's the framework of how the data collection is built, as well as what parts of working with data, what are the important steps of working with data, and they were included in this framework. And as you can see, on the big green top part with UAV image data, it means unmanned aerial vehicle, it means drones. And this is like on the right hand side, it's evaluation. And you can see the field measurements leaf area index. So it's like a part below, but still it's one of the important parts of this whole framework to understand, to correct and assess the how working is this correct, how its resultative is. So, and also what is here is what I wanted to show you regarding the angle. So this is the angle how the sunlight is reflecting depending on the angle where the crop is growing, and that's why it's important to do this correlation, because basically the summary, the main takeaway out of this research paper is that the researchers, they discovered the correlation which is needed to be applied for the crops which are grown in mountainous regions, and which are the imagery of these crops has been collected using drones. Yeah, this is probably the right way to say. And again, one more thing important about indexes, because drone imagery, it's not only about taking the photos from above and looking, trying to understand which area is better, which is worse, to apply either some specific agricultural input or fix the irrigation, depending on what's the problem in that area. Because in many cases, when you just look with your bare eyes, you will not see anything, because it's quite similar, and that's why there is an important part of using indexes. So, and on the left hand side now you can see the list of indexes which have been applied by the scientists to assess the crop growth, assess how even the growth is. And so basically any plant index, it means that you have some number between 0 and 1. And so in most cases it's when 0, it means that it's not green, and when it's 1, it means it's very green. So that's why this range of, if you get something like 0.7, it means healthy range, let's say. And by the way, one of the popular tools for measuring greenness on its spot. Obviously, everyone knows about it, but again, it's not measuring the level of chlorophyll, because some of the researchers, they are asking, in our case we also provide the tool which is called the greenness measurement, and it's a greenness meter, and is providing the dark green color index, DGCI, but and there is a correlation between SPOD and other indexes and DGCI, because everything which I have mentioned regarding indexes, it's all about visual assessment, and it's all about not specific amount of chlorophyll which exists in the leaf, but about the reflection of light. And that's why it doesn't, yes, obviously it matters which index are using, but I mean that it's still indexes. It's not about the specific measurable value which you can get after you go to laboratory and you get the results from the measurements about the level of chlorophyll, or you are doing other applying other methods to get the real numbers. So, but in this case, indexes, you can see the nice list of current indexes which are traditionally applied, and there are many more by the way, but these are like the pretty much the standard, the industry standard, so you can check it for your needs. And if you are doing any type of drone-based monitoring, try to follow this type of standards which are traditionally applied for monitoring crop growth. At the same time, on top of these indexes, there must be a correlation which should be applied, and this is the additional information on application of this correlation and how it impacts the final result and accuracy. So I hope, yes, I understand it's a little bit, a lot of, yeah, now we go back. So it's a little bit a lot of different aspects of the same one process of crop health monitoring using unmanned aerial vehicles and getting some mobile-based ground truth measurement. But I hope again that idea of this doing these processes in parallel and supporting the aerial imagery with ground truth measurement, it will stay with you, and when you will plan your next experiment, next work, next steps, you will use it and it will be helpful. Thank you so much, and see you next time.